Hey everyone, it's Patrick Bell. We're here for the Profit Acceleration Software Q&A call. Carl can't be with us this evening where I am, but we will answer some questions. And let me just open up someone here. I come from Mark Reed. Mark, I think you're self-muted there. Just want to make sure you can hear my voice, see my screen, all that stuff.
Gotcha, Pat. Can you hear me?
I can. Good. Everything okay there?
Yeah, it's going fine. Putting a lot of things together. Just ready to learn. Always interested in the questions that various people, new or older, have for you. And that's about all I got, I guess, unless you got a
Okay.
question for me.
No, I don't actually. Yeah, things going well, all in general. Business going well.
Yeah, I'd have to say so. Want it to go more well. Is that the right way to put that?
Yeah, absolutely. Sure. Things are good, but
Thanks.
could always be better. Yeah. It's interesting how my father-in-law taught me, whatever you have, you always need 10% more. So I don't know if it's true with your life, but whatever salary level you're earning, man, 10% more would just be nice, wouldn't it?
Um, 10%'s been easy. It's getting much further beyond that. That's been the challenge. So,
Mm. Well, good.
all
Well,
right.
you keep adding 10%, you know how the software works before you know it.
Absolutely. There you go. I love it.
So, good. All right. Thanks a lot, Mark. Appreciate it.
Thanks. Yeah.
Yeah, put you back on mute. So guys, as the saying goes, it's a Q&A call. I'm not going to do any training tonight. Tonight for me, it's 10:30 at night here in Nairobi, Kenya. And but I'm here to answer questions. So I'll stick around if there's questions. Otherwise, we'll have a very short call, and that's okay. Um, but let me see here. Anyone's got a question? Put your hand up. And there's Mike Stewart. Mike, you're self-muted.
Back, can
There
you
you
hear me
go.
now?
Yeah, I can. How are you today?
Fantastic, thank you. Well,
Sure.
because it's like maybe there's not a whole lot of questions, I figured I'd throw this one out because it's been on my mind for a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I'm fairly new, recently did the role playing. Um,
Okay, yeah,
so, yeah,
good.
so kind of at the end, it seems like one of the closing remarks is, would you like any help with that?
Right.
Um, I guess my question, maybe it's not as software driven, but are most, or is it suggested, or are most coaches, consultants actually helping doing the website building, the copywriting, or is that question more geared towards coaching and accountability and helping you utilize the online software to educate the business owner to do some of this herself and let them seek help? I guess I'm just kind of at a crossroad of how it's typically designed for.
Right.
Hopefully that makes
Okay,
sense.
so when you're asking the question, would you like my help to implement that? Are you asking if we're going to help them actually implement by building the website, writing the copy, or are you just going to coach them through it? Is that what you're asking?
That's correct. 'Cause I think the question, I want to be prepared that the question could come across as doing the heavy lifting, where for me at least, I'm not a website designer, I'm not a copywriter.
Sure. Yeah. I'm looking for a file here. We're going to add something to, oh, I think maybe Holly sends it out to people after they've done a role play. We're going to add it to the software at some point. Let me just pull it up here because, I mean, I don't know, 7 or 8 years ago, I was doing some coaching and I thought I was doing coaching and I was actually doing consulting. And I realized, oh my gosh, I think I'm asking them to do the same thing. It's because I was confused in the answer. So let me see if I can find this. It's going to be coaching. What's the name of it? Because I kind of delineated it quite clearly.
Awesome. Yeah, I recognize
Thought
that
it,
probably some people listening or future listeners will, maybe that's maybe that is the avenue they take, is that's part of their business model. So I certainly
Sure.
get where that's a good fit.
Let me see if I can find it here. Because if I can, I can share it with anyone. Just I can email it out or something, or if I can post it here, we'll see. I wonder if it's in that one. I don't see it offhand. Yeah, so yeah, I don't even know where it is. I don't know how I filed it. I did it for Holly. Maybe I could search in my email for her for that. Then that'd probably be the best way to go. So I can maybe have a look after and then send it over to you. But basically, what I'm saying is there's two offerings. Um, if I consult or if I coach with you, then I show you what to do, but you do the implementation. If I consult for you, I guide you in the implementation as well, and I do it with you. And there could also be a hybrid model where you do some of both. But I think you have to decide what you're worth in terms of your value and what kind of work you want to do for the client. And so if you want one client or two clients or three clients, some client might say, hey, I need you for 20 hours a week. Very common to do that, but you better be getting paid well for it if you're going to be doing that, because you can't grow your business. And the problem is if you take one or two clients and one client leads you, you've lost 50% of your business.
Right.
So, so building a stable of, I'm not really sure I'd like the idea of taking on 20 clients. I think that just seems like a lot of work. But if you could take on 8 and you could get paid very well for 8, and very well being at least $2,000 a month, then you've got, close to a couple $100,000 a year. So, and then if you're only giving them an hour or two a week of coaching, now you've got a really nice lifestyle there and good income for it. So, does that make sense?
It does. That's really more in line with what I've done in the past with my coaching and the direction that I plan on taking it. So it's good to hear that. Again, I see where it would fit, other people in different ways, but I guess I envision having, partnerships of people that I can refer them to, but then help them, actually hold accountable to dates and actions and increase education and awareness of
Sure.
the steps that need to be taken. Although I'm not the one, more in the coaching role versus the consulting role, as you mentioned.
Right. I mean, I look at the ability to implement digital marketing solutions, and I think, man, why learn it? Like, you can be a generalist in it, but why be the guy that does all the SEO? And that's just, you can hire that out for $10 an hour, right? So why would you take that on yourself and burn your time if you can hire it out for $10 an hour and charge much more for that? So I just say leave it for the experts. I used to be really good at SEO, and like I did an event once where for a major media company, and I said, man, it'd be to your advantage if you could be trained by the smartest guy in the country, wouldn't it? And they all go, yeah, that'd be our advantage. So I Googled smartest guy in the country, and I had all top 10 spots. So it was like a parlor trick or something, but they loved it anyway, and they offered me the job of chief operating officer at the end of that. And long story short, didn't take it. But I was implementing SEO for a client about 3 years later, and I didn't know that the Google was going to give me their slap or whatever it was called, and we disappeared. The client disappeared from Google searches completely. And I'm like, oh man, I've got to get out of this. If I'm not going to be up to date with everything, I'm just really, I could hurt the client, which I did. And just a lesson to me, let's leave SEO to the experts who study this every day, and let me focus where I'm really good at, which is the strategic thinking and the guidance of what they should be doing, not trying to do all the stuff for them. So that was a wake-up call for me. Anyway, so unless you love doing it and you just float your boat, I'd say coach them and stay out of consulting unless you're going to charge a lot of money for it.
Perfect. That's appreciate the good response.
Yeah, you're welcome. Any other questions while I got you on there?
No, I don't think so. I'm just really working through the live mastery PowerPoint and that script and trying to get comfortable quick and then set a date to do some live events.
Oh, good. Yeah, I got a live event myself, actually, not live, but a webinar coming up in a couple weeks, and I'm over here in Kenya, and one of my roles here, just working with a mission to see if we can bring practical business training into the churches. And so there's a guy who's kind of like the networker for the whole denomination. They got 2,000 churches here. And so I talked to him last night and I said, hey, Meshach, we got to get this going. And he goes, do you want to go big or do you want to go small? I said, well, we want to bring in coaches for LPW and I want to, do some group coaching, but just like no more than 12 people. And he goes, okay, we're going to go big. So he goes, we got 600 urban churches. I'm going to tell them that they each have to send one person to the webinar.
Wow.
I'm like, I use Webinar Jam. I haven't used it, but I've got it. I've had it for years, never used it. So I'm like, that's in 10 days. I've got to get my act together and finish off this presentation. And all I'm going to do for this, I'm going to do the spreadsheet we have on compounding impacts, and I'm going to do the everything is wrong presentation, and then just tell people, look, we got two opportunities. One, you can be a business coach. The other, you could be coached. I'm only taking one person from each region of the country to be coached, and I'm only taking 3 coaches in Nairobi, 3 in Mombasa. That's it. You got to make an application, and I have criteria like you got to have a credit card, all that stuff. And so I'm just going to see if I can get them to sell me and why they should be part of the program. And if things go well and everyone comes in and I do a good job, then hopefully we've got 6 or 8 new coaches coming in and get a bunch of people in the group coaching environment. And that's all I want to do, beta test it, see if it works, and then see if we can scale it up and move it on. But we'll
Sounds
see.
great.
Yeah, it'll be a lot of fun. I haven't, it's just like, I want to step back into it a little bit, and I don't want to get busy because I'm working with Leader full time, but I do want to make sure that the things I'm offering to the public, things we're offering to Leader or through Leader still works for me, for the public, and have my own experience with it, because my role is to make sure that products come out and services come out and that they're helping everyone. And so I want to make sure I have firsthand experience with what we're doing. So just refining things, and if it doesn't work for me, I like to step back and go, why didn't that work? What could we do better? And if it doesn't work for me, I'm suspicious that it'll work for anyone. Not that I'm better than anyone, but it could be maybe not. I wouldn't downgrade myself to say the lowest common denominator, but if it doesn't work for me, there's something wrong, I think. So anyway.
Well, we all appreciate that. Hey, I'm going to connect with you offline on this topic, just not to take up this space, but I've got a consultant that he and I have really been trying to find a way to work together, and the software is becoming maybe a center point for that at some point. But he's got an incredible story and incredible background on growing a church in Illinois and helping them look at it from a business-minded perspective. And I think the two of you might be great contacts for each other.
Sure, I'd love to, yeah.
He's got a great story and really created something that's very impressive. So I'll find you outside of this and make an introduction.
That's cool. Yeah, I've heard I think 3 times this week. There's people who are like pastors of churches or something. They like, we love the software. We want to help our people in the church, but helping a church grow as well. I've never done that personally. I've had a church come to me a long time ago and say, can you help us grow? I'm like, well, yeah, go and pray. I didn't want to help them, but
I think he grew up to, I want to say maybe 3,000 members. It's an incredible story, and he's very well spoken. I think that
Wow.
it might be time well spent for the two of you.
Good. Thank you. What part of Chicago is he in?
He's now down in my market here in South Alabama.
Oh, okay.
But the church was in an area that I don't know Illinois that well. I can't really describe it that well, but it was Heartland Church, I believe is the name of it.
All right. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, but I'll
I
find
lived
your
in
email
Chicago,
and shoot you
okay.
a little bit of details on it, and again make an
Sounds
introduction
good.
that might be interesting for both of you.
Wonderful. All right. Thanks a lot, Mike. Appreciate it.
Get it. Take care.
Thanks. Bye-bye. All right. Put you on mute. I got Keith. I came in late. I heard part of your answer, but missed the question. Can you repeat? Oh, I don't even know what the question was, Keith, but he goes, never mind. So, all good. All right. Someone else has their hand up. Let me go there. Oh, that was Mike. I think you're done, though. So, Eric Mertz coming for you. There we go. How's it going, Eric?
Good, Patrick. How are you doing? Can you hear me all right?
Can hear you great. Yeah, I'm doing well. Thank you.
Good. Hey, I may have missed something because I haven't been on here for a while. I was curious if there was something in the works for actually just capturing the goals for our clients, in terms of the going through the prioritization and implementation. I know I know you had shown some stuff on the project, kind of like a project planner type thing, but I was wondering something a little more visionary in terms of strategic plan, just like like being able to set goals for the year, something like that. Capturing the vision statement, mission statement, it'd be nice if it was all wrapped up in there somewhere. I do that on a spreadsheet with some of my clients, because I don't know if you're following what I'm saying, but I could actually send you that spreadsheet and probably that would explain more. I mean, it's got several components and some of the things we cover in the software already would be able to be executed better because of the software, but capturing it all in one place where they can communicate the goals within the organization, especially larger organizations. So,
yeah, no, we don't have anything right now. We've got, I know in our, let's see here, this thing's going to download the quarterly review. We go through what did we cover.
right. Yeah,
So,
I'd seen that, and that's a good part of it. I was just wondering,
like in here we have, review of Q1 highlights, things like that.
yeah,
And things like this, no, but we don't have anything that captures it ahead of time. The only thing possibly I could think of is in your initial planning meeting, this might be something that you look at. And I think a good standard would be to set 2 planning meetings, one to do the deep dive or the Profit Jumpstart 40, and the second to go over the results of that and put together your plan for where they're going. And you could ask questions, I think, in the deep dive about where you're heading. So no, we don't have anything. I'd love to see a spreadsheet on it, and if there's something we can do to improve it.
yeah. I'll
Absolutely.
send you my template and it's got instructions on how to use it, and
Oh, nice.
it's just an Excel sheet, but every tab is a different part. There's one for goal categories. So, say you have a company, you have sales, you have finance, you have operations. So within those categories, then each department makes their goals and they
Yeah.
put them all in one place. And then we have a tracking thing in there. And then I have a slot analysis sheet, and I have external analysis, internal analysis. There's a couple other things in there, but I'll send
Well,
it.
that'd be
I'll send it
awesome.
over to you. You take a look and you get back to me if you
Oh,
have any
thanks. Yeah,
questions.
great. That'd be
It's
awesome.
more work for you guys, but
No,
but
listen,
this thing is just getting so great.
we'll just make it better. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just
I'll tell you that we've got, if we put William on, just the change requests and little bugs, a couple here and there. If we put William on it full time, we probably wouldn't even get to that item for about 3 months. The
yeah,
problem is
yeah,
we've got William on other things as well and high
yeah,
priority. So, but I'd
yeah.
love to add to the list
I
for
don't
sure.
expect it, but maybe it's just a good discussion right now to think about the future.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you for that. And I
And when
definitely
I
will
send
add
it
it.
out, I'm happy to let anybody share it. So, if it comes up in another conversation, feel free to share what I share with you.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. Oh, that's excellent.
Nothing,
Thank you.
nothing new under the sun there, but it's just
All right.
worked for me.
Well, if it's tried and true, and that's the main thing, is just taking basic principles. And, as we talk about vision, I used to do an assessment, a decade ago, 12 years ago, and I talked about what's your vision, what's your mission, getting that clear, the whole integrity check, things like that. And this latest software, we don't have a lot of that built in. But I think what I'd like to do is to return to some of those things. One of my pet projects, just to throw it out there for people, just kind of let you know where I'm thinking is, all things being equal, if you had, we've got 48 areas of the software, right? We've got the Jumpstart 40, or the Deep Dive 40. We've got 8 areas in the digital acceleration software.
Mm-hmm.
All things being equal, what would you do? And if you added vision and mission and integrity checks and things like that, all things being equal, what would you do first and why? And what would you do second? And what would you address third? Could you get down to bundling? Like you can see on my screen here, we got bundling. Well, does bundling come before, after, downsell, and why? And what goes after bundling and what goes after that?
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I want to go next. Not as something that we would release right away, but we get a standard, and then we start to think, okay, so what happens if they're a salon? How does it change? And what happens if we're a well-funded salon in a bustling part of the city with little competition? How does that change? So we're starting to get a little bit into some AI there, I think. And what happens if the salon owner and decision maker is a Japanese person who's conservative versus a Californian who's aggressive versus a Canadian who's in the middle? And, you think of all the factors you could add to that and how it could adjust the order continually. But what if we could get the software to make really smart decisions for us in terms of what we should do first and next, and then how long it takes to implement? I think that would just be, what a great little tool to have. So this software is like phase 3 or 4. I don't know where it is, over the years. I think we'll see, phase 5, 6, 7. And the more we get into a little bit of AI, some blockchain, different things, we've got some very smart developers. So it's coming. I don't know how long, but that's how we're thinking on these things.
Well, yeah, it's just, we always have to be improving.
Yep. All the time.
Moving. As we learn more, then there's more that, that we can do. So.
Right. And I think it's Moore's law that says that knowledge is doubling they say every 9 months, and they'll get down to every few days or a few minutes or something, that the amount of things we can know is doubling all the time. And marketing and business growth is an infinite space. So you can only know a fraction of a fraction. And so that's why I think this idea of having these, there may be bit traditional areas of business growth, but they're still the most strategic. And being a solid expert in the traditional, the foundational areas, being able to talk through the areas and tell people what a compelling offer means and all these things, just that little blurb at the top of each of these categories. If you could just be fluent in the little blurb at the top of 40 areas or 48 areas, if you include the digital, man, you come off like you're in the top 3% of marketers probably globally that they don't even know these things. So, anyway, we always got to keep learning, but you got to keep the foundation as the foundation. And I mean, it'd be nice to know how to market on TikTok, but I'm never going to do it. There's just too many things happening all the time, right? So.
No, you can't be everything to everybody.
No.
Or you're nothing to no one.
Generation. That's right. All right. Any other questions, Eric?
Good work. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're so welcome. All right. Very good. Put you back on mute. I think I was going up the board and I saw Daniel had a question. Daniel, you should be yourself. There you are.
Okay. Yep, here I am.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
Good.
I had one question that I wanted to ask here, and then another one just popped in my head too. So I've got two now.
Sure. Okay.
So one here, I'll try to make this one. This can be a quick answer, Pat. How proprietary is the software? If I were to do a virtual focus group and walk through a fictitious business, can I show the software on the screen during a webinar?
Absolutely. I plan to do that in my webinar in a couple of weeks. I want to dip into it.
Okay.
I wouldn't make it the center of your presentation. I'd make it as a, Carl always talks about this, have like a bit of mystery. So when you show things, you might come into an assessment and you say, we've got all these areas, and you maybe walk through a few of them. You show people down the side or something. Show what happens if you have a 5% growth, or you could even make it 3% on $1 million business. And you say, look, and just kind of walk them through the priority section, how we can prioritize things, and then you can go to this implementation calendar. We can lay things out, and we know exactly what to do first and next, because we've got here the answers at the back of the book. We know, the group of coaches that I work with, we put this together. And we got the answers at the back of the books. We know how to lead the process of implementation here. You might not even click on it. Just leave the mystery there. And, take them to the ROI tab is a good one, and talk about how, we always want to have at least a 200% ROI as we work with a client. And we won't, but, we're conservative with our numbers. So I'm sure we'll even do better than that. You could take them to some strategies and look at I think the turnkeys, and show them the kind of marketing we build, and just say, look, you don't have to take them through all. Just say, this is the type marketing we want to build for your group. Scroll through a few. They'll see the scroll bars kind of working halfway down. Then you just go back up and just leave it. Walk away on that, and just leave the mystery wide open. Like, people go, I want to know more about that, right? So absolutely let people see it, for sure. I would just make sure that you know how to use the software really well. You can cruise around it really easily, and be prepared to answer a few questions. You might take them using the Breakthrough 40, and you could say, look, we've got these areas on the side, your foundational areas, more leads, more conversions. We can just open them up, and you can see all these different areas, these 40 different areas that we can walk through your business with. And, things like that, right? So
okay,
that's scripted. Yeah, I'm a scripter. Carl's a freewheeler. Adrian and I are both scripters. And so, like, if I'm on stage, I want to know exactly, like, I've memorized my presentation, and then I can freewheel a little bit, but I've got it memorized. And so I want to script everything ahead of time to make sure it's the most impacting as possible. I get the benefits in there as best I can, but I practice it, 20, 30 times before I get on the stage, and I get my team to critique me, and then I practice it some more and all that. So it depends who you are and your personality and all that. But yeah, good. What were you thinking of for your presentation?
I was gonna do part of a 10K or 100K, I guess. So walk through a few strategies, and then I was thinking of pulling up the software and showing, okay, so if we said this was a 3% increase for our fictitious business, this is what the numbers would look like. So thought I'd do that for a fictitious business, and then have the attendees just individually do that for themselves.
Yeah, good. I mean, you could ask even a few questions like, okay, here's an example. Let me just see if I can find this. And I don't know if you've got this Excel spreadsheet. It's the power of compounding impact. Have you got that one?
I'd have to see it. I don't recall.
Okay, it should be on your screen there now.
No, I don't recognize this one.
So we got this one. There's a mini assessment. This is kind of what I'm going to walk through as I do my event here in Kenya in a couple weeks. But this is so cool because you can walk through and you can talk about. See, I put it all in shillings here just for my market. But you, I think I can direct you to this. It was around May of last year on the Ask the Expert call. We put this out here, but you just walk through some ideas. For example, 1.25% increase of each of these areas results in a 10% overall increase. So for example, if you're getting 1,000 leads a year from the internet, a 10% increase would be 100 leads per year. It's 2 leads a week. That's 10%. Little ideas. If you have 100 customers and 200 former customers, send an invitation to the former 200 and include your market dominating position. You only need 2 out of 200 to respond to grow by 2%, because you have 100, you get 2 more, it's 2% growth. Little things like that, right? Great one on downsell. You have 100 people walk in your door every day, only 20 buy, 80 leave without buying anything. Just offer those 80 an out the door special. If you can convince just one of them to buy something, you've grown your business by as much as 5%. So things like that, just it's what I'm going to walk through mine. I want people here to understand the power of compounding impact. And this screen is more about when you make an impact of 5%, 5 million shillings. But the profit impact is 2.5 million, because you measure the profit impact against your gross profit using gross profit margin. So then you have a 12.5% impact on profits. This is a big aha moment for a lot of people. They don't get it. And so then you can just help people see, like, this compounds so quickly. You can get massive improvements by just getting small little incremental improvements along the way. So I think that's around May 20th or something. Ask the Expert call from last year.
I'll look that up. I do recall those funnel icons. I remember seeing those before.
Okay, yeah, good.
Okay.
But yeah, include something like that. The other one is the pie growth of business business growth possibilities.
I've incorporated that in my standard presentation now. Yeah.
Good. Yeah, I'm going to pull that one out too, and it's kind of part of I think it's part of the Everything is Wrong training now. But anyway, I'll be using that. So.
Yeah.
Good.
I had another question too. This would be for application of the PAS software and an environment that's going to be brand new to me. So I thought I would reach out to the Brain Trust here on this call and get some ideas. So I've got a walkthrough of the PAS tomorrow with a CrossFit gym, and I'm used to sitting down with a business owner, maybe one-on-one, and walking through a PAS. This CrossFit gym owner said, I bring my management team into every meeting about how the business is run. So there will be 5 of us in this meeting tomorrow.
Great.
So little nervous about having that many people. Ideas,
Well,
thoughts. I'll take anything from the crowd.
well, what I'd say, I've done this before for a management team, and the one problem I ran into is years ago was the CEO at the time. I kept asking questions. I was asking great questions. Do you do this? What if you did do this? And he just kept looking at the marketing director like, why don't we do any of this? What's your problem? So I had just to preface it by saying, I'm going to show a lot of things here that might be new. And, marketing is an infinite field. I'm sure Joe here in the room, your marketing director, he's brilliant in probably so many areas of marketing, but it's impossible to know everything because it's this infinite field and we can only know a fraction. I'm going to bring in maybe a different fraction than what Joe knows. And, the goal here is I'm here to support you guys and support Joe. And if you find something that you find of value here, I'm sure we can work together. So you got to make Joe look good from the start. I didn't know that when I first did it. And I was inadvertently thinking, I'm smarter than their marketing guy. But after I left, their marketing guy somehow turned against me and I never got the client. So I did the assessment and made the money, but on the initial assessment, the deep dive, but I never got them as a client. So learned my lesson there.
Ouch.
I would just, yeah, well, I mean, it's whatever. It's a learning experience, right? So that's why I can share the deal today, because wisdom is built by making a series of bad decisions. So anyway, I would basically try to figure out who's the decision maker in the room, the ultimate decision maker, or the number two person, and I'd be speaking to them, eye to eye. That's how I'd do it. But actually, I'd be interested to see if other people have an opinion on that. The great thing is if you sell the room, you've got them all sold. And with the software, you've got the most brilliant set of questions ever designed in business coaching software. It's like this collective brain of a lot of people who have contributed to this. And you can't find any consultant anywhere who can ask a better set of questions. I don't care if they're Jay Abraham or Tony Robbins. No one is this systematic. A lot of this was built off of Jay's brain, I'm sure. So, because I don't know, I'd studied Jay for probably 10,000 hours before we even put pen to paper, let's say. So, this has got a lot of the best marketing minds in it already. Chet Holmes, a lot of Chet Holmes, especially in the sales stuff. Jay Abraham, Scott Hallman, maybe, Frank Kern, people like that in here, plus Rich Sheffer and a bunch of others. So it's and then Carl and Adrian and I just hammering it away for hundreds of hours to figure out what questions to ask and when and why and all that. So you're going in with an amazing tool. Just ask the questions. I think, how much time do you have with them?
I've got an hour with them.
Okay. Great place to start. I might use the Jumpstart 40. And, because it's very succinct, like the questions you can ask, and think CrossFit ahead of time. What 5, 6, 7 areas would you focus on? So it might be digital marketing, of course. Market dominating position is a great one. Alliances and joint ventures, you might think about how you might do that, like what's some possibilities there. Often though, you don't have to come up with the answers, you have to ask the right questions. And then if they say, well, how would you do it? They ask me, I've had this before about market dominating position. People have said, well, what would a good market dominating position be? And if you come up with something right away, I think the tendency is that they would throw it off like, no, that wouldn't work. Or think about this. Let's say this CrossFit gym, they've spent hundreds of hours dreaming about this business and planning this business. And if you come in with a solution that you've just maybe like, what if you did that? And they go, the tendency would be to say, no, that wouldn't work. And actually to come up with a solution on the spot might be a bit disrespectful. Some people might disagree with me, but I might say something like, I think this needs to happen over several planning sessions because it's very difficult to come up with a true market dominating position unless we've done thorough research on your competitive landscape, what your competitors offer, how they market, what advantages that we can find that they're not doing, or what are they doing well that we could do better. That's going to require some research. I might sense that we might go in the direction of X, Y, Z, but I think we really need to do some research around that. And they go, yeah, that's totally fair. So I'd go through this. You can ask questions to reactivate former customers. How many customers do you have now? How many former ones do you have? Have you ever sent out a letter to people? Just follow the questions. It's even better than what I'm trying to spitball here. But that's
Okay.
a good one to do. Upsell, cross-sell. Increase prices, look at that. So come up with do some research, come up with 5 to 7 different ways and expect to use 3 of them. And find breakthroughs, find the impact, and then stop and give yourself 15, 20 minutes to close them.
Okay. Thank you.
Sound good?
Yeah,
you're welcome.
great advice. Yeah, thank you.
All right, you're welcome. All right, let me cruise through here, see if someone's got some questions. Open up the panel here. Eric says May 27th for the spreadsheet we just looked at. All right. Is there a way for us to plug dollars instead in the spreadsheet? Oh yeah, just let me see if I can open that up. You take it, yeah, the spreadsheet, Diana, is already in dollars. This one I just adapted for myself in shillings. So you just go to the spreadsheet, it's already there, it's in dollars. So yeah, there's, Diana, there's a lot of, it's like, we don't know enough to say it. It's just, Carl says the same thing over and over and over again. Adrian says the same thing over and over again. And I find the best way to learn something is to teach it to someone. Find someone to teach it to. Even if you put together a presentation and you wrote out a script and you practice the script to a wall, which this is the way I learned. After you do it 20 times, I'm not joking with 20, I think Adrian would practice his presentation for 2 weeks, speaking to a bunch of balloons with faces drawn on them because that's his audience. And I would do I did 2 events to start my consulting, and I practiced all of my modules at least 20 to 30 times each. And after every 5 or 6 times, I'd have my staff critique me on it and say, okay, how can we get this better? I want everything. And then I just memorize it all. And so my 2-day events, it was memorized, completely memorized. Took a lot of work, took months. But I thought, I want to make some money here. I want to come off looking brilliant. And I was giving everyone 100% money back guarantee, even at the end of the event. And after 7 events, I never had anyone ask. So it's just practice, practice, practice. You think about going back to the software, you have these areas in the software, reactivating former customers. So reactivating former customers may be one of the simplest, lowest cost methods of growing a business. There could be any number. Okay, so you read that, and then you read it 5 times, and then you close your screen and say, can I explain this to my dog or my friend or my spouse or whatever? And see if you come off fluent with it. And if you don't, go and practice another 10 times and practice it again. And you got 40 areas or 27 areas here that you could practice. And, a week, 2 weeks, you'd be able to things will roll off your tongue so much easier. And that's just part of the game, is just refining your craft. We're most, as a coaches, kind of on a rant here, but as coaches, we're independent consultants. And my concern is that some coaches don't want to put in the work that they would be required to do if they went and worked for, say, a Fortune 500 company as a business coach. Because the CEO would say, hey, go and stand in the room and go and learn these scripts and come out when you know them. And we'd go and do it in a heartbeat because we're getting paid whatever for that week. We're getting paid $3,000 for the week. But we're just hesitant to do it ourselves because we'd rather check Facebook or something. So this would be a great place to start if you don't know all these terms. If you don't know how to explain market dominating position, go and memorize it. And the other ways, I mean, this, watch the videos in market dominating position. Write out your favorite scripts and memorize them. You got to get to know the stuff. You got to know the content. So that's half the fun of it, isn't it? All right. Let me see here. I know there's a few other questions here. Okay, yeah, coming across with the goods once they hire me. Well, part of the ability to implement is using the implementation calendar. This was my worry a long time ago. I got hired and I didn't know what to do. So I could get clients. I got great clients. I got national level clients. But I didn't know how to lead a process of implementation. So that's why we have this implementation roadmap. So you think, what am I going to do with that in that first meeting with the client? You're going to review the results of the profit assessment and the goal for the increase. Okay, 5 minutes. Okay, so you're going to explain it, and you might say, I've never done this before. I've got some software here. I want to explain this to you, but I think it'd do better if I just read you the explanation. Would that be okay, Susie? And you kind of nod your head as you're saying that. Would that be okay? And they'll say every time, oh, that'll be fine. So you just read it to them. And you'll say, okay, so you understand it now? And they go, yep. And so, well, the next thing on the list is we got to do some research. So, and you just go through this. Now, how are we going to do that? Now, obviously, there's two ways to do research. One is you're coaching them. The other is you're consulting. As a coach, you're going to say, Susie, go and do the research. Okay, take this list. How are we going to help you do that? Maybe we need to hire a college kid. Maybe we just need to, get on the internet ourselves. Right now, let's find out some things. And, you might consult with them and do it for them. And then you enter this process of brainstorming. So this is why we built this, is because people like me who just I forget what to do next. And we just given it to you here. So when you go into a coaching session, you don't have to come up with all the answers. All the answers are here at the back of the book. So good, yeah, good. That's how I do it. And then the more you do it, the more experience you get, the easier it gets. So here we go. All right, I have some hands up, but I think they've already asked them. I'm going to drop the hands. If you have another question, raise your hand again. And there's Keith. So Keith, I'm opening you up there.
So mine's probably pretty quick, but when I was going over my, or when I was creating a report to give to the guy that I did the PAS with last week, because I didn't understand how to address his potential question on the valuation of the company, I took that out completely. Do you have an easy way to describe that?
Keith, you broke up there. Could you repeat the question at the end?
No,
Do you have an easy?
Just an easy way to explain if somebody says, well, how did you come up with that valuation? Just an easy way to say that.
Yeah.
Talk about that.
Yeah. We built this valuation tool with a business broker who was good at valuation. And, besides the number of research. So the problem with valuing a company is that valuations happen on so many different ways, and none of them are entirely accurate. So what we did was, basically the algorithms behind this is we take the you got this thing is entered automatically what your business been valued at. It automatically inserts the revenue. So that's our starting point. The value would be the 1 times revenue. So there's $1 million. As we go through this, this company, if it's growing by 10% a year, we would say 110. So now this will increase the valuation because it's better than steady. If it was steady, it would be no change to the valuation. There's a factor built in here, I forget what it is, but there's a factor for the assets as well. And now we have these different yes or no questions. So if they answer yes or no, it's either going to increase the valuation by a small amount or decrease it. So if you have the financials prepared, yes, it increases valuation. If you have one customer that accounts for at least no, that increases the valuation. If we say yes, it decreases because you're at risk. If that customer left you, you take a big hit to your revenue. So that decreases a little bit. It's not much. I mean, it's in the area of 1 or 2 or 3 or 4%, somewhere in there. Are a large extent of your systems, process, policies, procedures in place? Yes, that increases it. Are your marketing sales process documented? Love the question. Yes, increases it. Business model scalable? Yes, increases. Recurring revenues? Yes, increases. So then we submit that, and this will probably jump a little bit on the right here. Right now it's 1.857. So what happened? 2.24. Oh, and that's also with, there's the original one, 1.439. There we go. So you can see it's taken that million, it's added somehow 250,000 perhaps, and some other factors. We start at 1.43 mil. So that's kind of how it works in a general nutshell. I mean, there were so many different ways to value a business. We thought, what can we do that would be the most ballpark for every business? At some point in the future, if we can, get the time, we can do an assessment on what type of industry and what are the multiples of profits and all those things that cause valuation and all that. And then, yeah, that would be nice to have, but that's a manpower issue. So.
Okay. And then for the way it's changing, like the afterwards valuation, do you go into like if we were to go through one of the PAS areas that talks about processes and implement that, does that change the valuation?
Let me have a look quick here.
We don't have to get into too much detail here. I just
all right.
Okay.
Let's just do some round numbers real quick, because if I don't know the answer, I'd like to find out. And let's not put it off here. So for round numbers, $1 million, let's go with the 20% net profit margin and a 50% gross profit margin, and they're in accommodations industry. For the first one I choose, there we go, 200% current profit. And through here, let's just this all up a bit. So let's say 100% there and 100% there, and call it 250. Maybe make it 200. And I'll just go down yes all the way. And it gives us a valuation of 1.34 million. So now let's find one area, and we're going to give them a 10% boost. Actually, I want to do it in market dominating position. It'd be even better. So give them a 10% boost. We've had 0. So now back to summary page. 10%, there's 100,000 there. So now we've gone from 340 to, 1.34 to 1.4. What's the difference there? Who's the math genius? 74,000. So I don't know why we've done that. I couldn't tell you the
Yeah.
math behind that.
Okay.
Would it go up 10%? Interesting. Increase in revenue is 100,000. Increase in profit would be $50,000 profit. And we've got 74. That's, yeah, somewhere in the middle. So I think the valuation tool and what we said on the valuation tool at the very beginning was this note to coach.
Mm-hmm.
This is not something you can take to the bank. It just simply allows us to see the potential impact on your business value that will be indicative of the possibilities. So it's really a sales tool is what we're trying to say is like, hey, look, you're not only going to make $50,000 additional profit, but look what happens over 5 years. Because if we can cement these with good policies and procedures, these changes, we'll see that impact last over 5 years. So we're really looking at a 5-year profit impact of $250,000. And look, your business value increases as well. Does that make sense? They go, absolutely. And it's like, how do you get those numbers? Well, these are numbers that are just indicative of what's possible. These are not something we can take to the bank here, but this is indicative of the possibility of what your business value, what would happen to your business value. I'd leave it there. And I've never had anyone press me further on that. And
Yeah. Okay, thanks.
Makes sense. Yeah, good. Good.
I'll keep that in my next report.
Okay. Good. Sometimes I say something worth listening to. All right. I think that's all the questions, guys. And there, look at that. Our time's up. So let me just drop the questions again. And last chance, if you have a question, put your hand up. And otherwise, we'll let you go. We'll be back next Tuesday with another Q&A call. And just anyway, to encourage you guys to go and practice, play around with it. Just, it's really a sense of play. It's like, what happens if we do this? And try different things with evaluation. What happens if I put in the valuation, if it's little things like this, we're going to 1.414 and we change it to 105. So we're going to increase by 5% a year. What happens to the valuation? And 1.414, 1.454, $50,000 impact because we're growing, our revenue's been growing at 5% a year. It's worth more. So it's like, oh, that's interesting. You can just play around with the software all the time. And the more you use it, the more you'll feel comfortable in using it. So there's the encouragement of the day. Thanks for hanging out with us today. Hope you guys have a great weekend. And I plan on it myself. We've moved into a new apartment last weekend, so got some shopping to do, but I got a webinar to plan as well, so it's going to be busy and I have time to, as the Japanese would say, family maintenance, which is a terrible word.
So
But I get to hang out with my wife and my son and my daughter, so it's a joy.
if this is encouraging to anybody, I think this is awesome software.
Yeah.
This is huge. And I did my first one last Thursday, and it was a guy that I knew. I told him I was practicing, and he liked the results so much that he signed up for a $6,000 a month contract with me.
It's awesome.
Yep.
So awesome. Yeah, thanks for sharing that. Yeah, Holly had shared that with me as well, and we're like, man, it's so amazing when you go out and you can get a great contract with a client. So it's just another encouragement. They have a saying in Africa that it takes as much energy for a lion to hunt a squirrel as it does to hunt an impala. So maybe more. So you don't want to go after squirrels if you're going after clients that are making $75,000 a year as a revenue. It's nice to help them, and so many people like that need help. But that's not where you make the money. You're going to be consulting for them for $30 an hour and trying to do all the work and make them happy. And I mean, you got to find out who's making $1 million a year, 2 million a year, and charge them $2,000 a month. This tool in your hand, you're better than every competitor in your city that doesn't have the tool. Like, just go through the software and learn it and get the confidence, because you have the best tool, I believe, from the bottom of my heart and the heart of my bottom. I believe this is the best tool going in the world for business breakthrough. So get to know the tool. You'll get the confidence to go out and just crush it and go after those clients that, that can pay you that $2,000 a month, $3,000 a month, $6,000 for keep there. Do a little bit of extra work for them, but man, it's nice when the paycheck comes in every month, isn't it? So, all right, guys, take care. Have a great weekend. Wish you all the best, and we'll catch up with you on Tuesday. Bye-bye.